Good leaders understand that their role is to serve the people that they lead. And as you said a moment ago, our success as leaders is dependent upon our team's success.
Hey, welcome everybody to the Faith Family Leadership Podcast. As always, we're honored to have you with us. This is a space where you as leaders can learn, grow, and invest into your God-given purpose. With me on the podcast today, Pastor Josh, man.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Doing good, man.
Really
Me too. Today is episode 18.
All right.
So does that mean that we're officially a podcast adult now? How does that work?
I guess. Yeah, we better act right.
Yeah, well, somewhat. We're kind of in that adolescent adult stage where we get a little bit of grace. But I'm excited about this episode today. And leaders, before we get into the content, I just want to remind you, if you want to go to faithfamily.org, myfaithfamily.org/leadership podcast, there you can get all of the resources that go with this, including a discussion guide, which can give you some prompts to have some great discussions with your team.
That'd be good.
As always, anytime you leave us a review or a comment, we love that.
Yes.
And share the episode. Share it with friends, family, anyone you think that might get value from it. We believe that when the leader gets better, everybody gets better.
It's good.
Today we are talking about leading with generosity. Okay. A generous leader. But before we get into that, we got to do a little bit of trivia.
Let's do it.
Now, this is November, obviously. We're here. It doesn't feel like November.
No.
It feels like the Amazon rainforest.
Yeah, that's the reason for the short sleeve white shirt today.
Yeah, I thought, because our office gets really cold when it's cloudy.
Yeah, you look rather fallish, though.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're matching the season.
I am matching the season. Last year, you told me that Thanksgiving was one of your favorite holidays.
It is my favorite holiday.
So as we're getting ready for Thanksgiving, what's the vibes this year? What makes a great Thanksgiving day at the Joins house?
Well, I'm already thinking through like the meat selection.
He said thinking through.
Yeah, I actually, I've always done just a big turkey on the green egg. I will probably do that again. Yeah. However, I received in the mail the other day a turducken.
When you first said this, I wasn't sure if you were speaking in tongues or not. So maybe for the listeners, tell us what that even is.
Turducken it's kind of made famous, kind of the New Orleans culture, but there's a turkey, a boneless turkey. Inside the turkey is a chicken.
Okay.
And then inside the chicken is a duck.
Man.
So
all
of that's deboned, and so it's a turducken. I've never had one. I hear they're great.
It sounds fantastic.
I hear they're great. So, it's I'm kind of wondering, should I offer that
to your guests?
Yeah, or just like,
is that an inner circle thing?
It's a little risky. Maybe I do that for another, maybe Christmas. I don't know, but I'm kind of weighing that out.
Whoever came up with that, bro, let's give credit where credit's due.
Hey, man, if it's from New Orleans,
if you can fuse three meats, into one,
I hear it's just really good. Like all the different flavors kind of mixed together. It seems kind of gross, but it sounds. I mean, I kind of want to try it out.
Yeah,
which I'm going to.
Yeah, no, you'll have to let us know how that goes. Let's do a little trivia.
Okay,
you're a learner. And you got information on things. I'm like, how does he know that? So I'm going to test you on some Thanksgiving trivia. Okay. Now, some of these are going to be multiple choice. Some of these you just kind of answer. Okay. And I'll give you the heads up on what's what. Give you a layup here. What process refers to soaking a turkey in salt water before cooking it?
That's brining the bird. I was actually looking at picking up a brine bucket yesterday. I was on Amazon looking at one. Because, I always brine my bird, but I haven't had a bucket. So I just put it in this bag inside of a big bowl and just put it in the fridge. But they actually make these buckets that are in bags that designed specifically for this. And I'm like, why haven't I discovered this until now?
How long would you brine a bird before she's ready to cook?
At least, I've heard 24 to 48. I heard a guy recently just say 48 hours is like optimal.
And is this supposed to make it like more tender and stuff?
Yeah, it makes it more tender, flavorful. Kind of gets that. Sometimes turkey can have a little bit of a
gaminess.
There's something to it, a little tinge on it.
There's a little something there.
Yeah.
Let you remember it.
So you put water, it's water, salt, sugar, brown sugar or sugar. And you'll throw some onions in there and some lemon.
Almost kind of like a marinade in some ways.
Yeah, and it just kind of clean, like it just, I don't know.
Purifies the bird.
Yeah, I've done it every year, and the turkey
comes out good.
The people love it.
Yeah.
At least that's what the people are telling me.
Well, good smoked turkey, man, hits.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people like the fried, and, that's good.
I did that for the first time last year.
It's just not really, it just seems, I'd just rather smoke it.
It's a lot. There's a lot happening there with that fryer.
Yeah.
High risk.
Yeah.
High risk.
Yeah, I'm not trying to clean that up.
No. Okay, this one's going to be multiple choice. According to a recent poll, how many guests, on average, did Thanksgiving hosts expect to serve in 2023? I'm going to give you some options here. 8, 11, 6, or 15. Average amount of guests a host would expect to serve on Thanksgiving.
It's between, I'm going to go 11.
That's right.
Almost went possible? 8, but I was like 11 seems about right. Because, you start talking about your brother and their kids, your mom and dad.
Yeah, it adds up.
There's 11.
And that's true.
Now, if you come down here and some of the larger families that, we have in our church, you might have 30 to 40
That's an
showing up,
bro.
Yeah.
All right, another multiple choice. In 1995, this popular Thanksgiving vegetable was the first to be grown in space. Okay, you've got cucumber, broccoli, sweet potato, regular potato.
I'm going with sweet potato.
I tricked you a little bit there. It's regular potato.
So regular.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would figure that a potato would be easier to grow in space than something else.
It is. You ever see the movie The Martian?
It's a good movie.
It's a great movie. Yeah. He grows potatoes.
He does.
He does. Story. All right. Multiple choice here. How many balloons were featured in the 2023 Macy's Day Parade? 35, 50, 70, 25.
Balloons.
Balloon, like the big.
The giant balloons. 75.
It's 25.
I was only 25.
Mm-hmm. I would have thought the same thing when I was looking up.
Maybe they go big. Yeah. Big Apple. Go big.
Well, I think they scaled it down, the amount, because this was just last year.
Okay. Maybe COVID.
Maybe so. No one's safe. Not even the balloons at the Macy's Day Parade. This is not multiple choice. What Thanksgiving side dish is the least popular among Americans?
Man. Green bean casserole?
Bro. Yes.
Because that's one of my favorites.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's crazy. I always want one.
How? I totally agree with this. Green bean casserole is probably my least favorite.
Because most people, it's like, ew, what is this?
I feel like it's like the Burlington Coat Factory of side dishes.
These are like sloppy green beans.
Yeah. Your green bean casserole, though, I got to imagine it's pretty spot on.
Yeah. So, it's green bean casserole.
Yeah.
I don't know. You may not probably wouldn't like mine either.
Maybe not.
Yeah. And most people don't like green stuff. That's going to be your least favorite.
At Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You like the browns, baby.
Yeah. You want brown. You want the sweet stuff.
Yeah.
Savory.
Do you like Thanksgiving desserts or like the main meal part better? If you had to pick between what's my favorite, like turkey and dressing versus a pie?
Yeah.
What?
Turkey and dressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like pumpkin and I like sweet potato pie.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
it is what it is on that.
Turkey and dressing.
Yeah. It only comes around once a year.
All right. How many calories are in a typical holiday dinner?
Oh, man. I'm going to say 2,000.
3,000.
3,000.
That makes you a little bit aware going into that lunch.
I believe that.
I do too. Last one. Which two NFL teams played the first game on Thanksgiving Day since 1966? So they play every Thanksgiving Day.
Detroit and Dallas.
There you go. Good job, man.
Yeah, that'll be fun for Dallas fans this year. Detroit's good. Dallas is really bad.
Any thoughts you want to offer the Dallas front office in case they're listening to this?
No, they don't listen to anybody. So they wouldn't listen to me.
Man, let's shift gears and get out of that so we don't put a damper on the holiday season.
Huge damper.
Damper.
As a football fan, if you want the Thanksgiving game to have some meaning and matter, if you're a Cowboys fan or a Detroit fan.
I grew up watching that game.
But now it's you're going to have a backup quarterback playing.
Yeah, because Dak's out for a few weeks.
Probably, maybe for the year.
Really?
Surgery.
Man.
Probably needed.
I don't even know.
His hamstring, part of it came away from the bone. which seems to be pretty serious.
Does did he get like?
I don't know. I haven't watched. I don't think I've watched one game all year.
By design, you just don't want to put yourself through that.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully Dallas gets their life figured out. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll shift gears here. I want to talk with you a little bit on this subject of leading with generosity.
Okay.
Many of our listeners, especially our leaders in the church, you talk about high capacity, high productive people. Okay. They got a lot on. So between work, maybe school, family, hobbies, kids, just fill in the blank, leading in the church, I think it can be a temptation for us at times to drift more towards the task.
Yeah.
Than we do the team, the person or the people on the team. And what I'm learning in leadership, and you and I've talked about this before, is that every success you have comes and is found from someone else. It's kind of the currency of leadership.
Sure.
So I'd love for you to kind of unpack this thought a little bit. We've had some discussions about what it means to be a generous leader and why that's so important, especially with the people that we lead directly and developing them. So I want to kind of start with why you see this is important, because in all the years that we've been running together, not only have I seen you live this out yourself, but you've been a model for our team to be generous to the people that God has placed in our lives. So I kind of want to start there, and then we'll talk about some areas as leaders that we can be generous. So first, just kind of in your own words, why do you think it's important for us to lead with a heart of generosity?
Yeah, because I think that's what leaders do. Good leaders understand that their role is to serve the people that they lead. And as you said a moment ago, our success as leaders is dependent upon our team's success.
Yep.
And I think sometimes in the church world, we can kind of get caught. And it's not just in church. This happens on the job.
Yeah.
It happens everywhere, where people lock in on kind of like positional leadership, which, I'm in charge and people do what I need them to do and what I want them to do. And you better deliver, or we'll suffer the consequences.
Yeah.
That's just the lowest, I think, level of leadership.
Yeah.
When I look back at the people in my life, the people that made an investment in me, and I can tell it didn't always feel like that at the time, but they took time. They brought direction. They helped me see things from a different perspective. They exposed me to resources and relationships that was lifting me, raising my lid. Those are the people that I look back and have the most gratitude for. And if you're going to lead in that way, you just have to be intentional about it.
Yeah.
You got to have the right mentality about leadership, because otherwise you'll miss out. The leader can miss out on the benefits of leadership if they simply believe it's a positional, I'm in charge, or even I'm responsible.
That's good.
For it. It's like if you learn how to look beyond that and add value to the team, then everybody wins.
Yeah.
They win, you win. The organization wins.
The team feels better.
The team feels much better. And it's a tension you have to manage, because there are demands and there are expectations you place on people that are on your team, because that's what leaders do.
Yes.
Hey, we're all going over there, and that's going to require some energy to get there. But you can't just settle on that. You can't just get lost in that. You have to understand there is a responsibility that a leader carries to give of themselves, even when they don't want to.
Yeah. Well, I love you've said this, you've been saying this for years, that as you rise in leadership, give up personal rights.
Oh, no, for sure. No, yeah. You give up, the responsibility increases, and then your personal rights, they decrease. You just don't have the luxury. You don't have the luxury of being selfish if you're going to be a good leader.
So good. So true. I love what you're talking about. Even when you talked about how the people in your life that knew you well enough to invest into you, to challenge you, correct you, those are the people that you have the most gratitude for.
Yeah.
And I'm a product of that too. In fact, I would say anybody that is advancing in leadership, that is doing it long term, you're only there because someone believed in you enough and then spent enough time with you to know you.
Right.
I think about some of the conversations we've had over the years and the ways that you've helped me grow past those own limitations in my own life.
Yeah.
not every one of those conversations have been comfortable for either one of us, but I've always appreciated that you loved me enough and you had the heart of a leader to say, even if this makes both of us uncomfortable, I'm going to have this conversation with him because I want to see him grow.
Yeah.
But then, as you mentioned so well, as I'm growing, as you're growing, the teams that we're surrounded by are growing too.
Everybody grows.
And
That's
so
right.
the why is so strong. And I think there's some ways, that practical ways that we can be generous.
Sure.
You and I were talking about some of that.
Yeah.
I think one of the first things you mentioned to me was it starts with our time.
Yeah, no, you got to make time for people. You really do. And that's something I don't think the general population doesn't get that very well, because not everyone's great at managing time. And leaders, even leaders, can kind of just get caught in the cycle of putting out fires. What's the most urgent thing? And sometimes the most urgent thing is, hey, we just got to knock this task out.
Yes.
And that is important. You got to get things done. But there must be some deposits made relationally, and you have to make time for that.
Yeah.
You know, hurry doesn't know how to build relationship. Hurry doesn't know how to love. Hurry doesn't know how to value what's most important, because hurry just hurries.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of messy. It's just, you know, just get through it.
Yeah.
But when you slow down and make time for people, that's probably, you know, just being authentic, or, you know, that is a challenge for me at times, and not one that I'm willing to, I mean, I'm not waving the white flag saying I'm not going to give people time, but, you know, I mean, I enjoy people. I enjoy adding value to people. What I don't enjoy at times is some of the messy, like, responses you get from people when you're walking through issues, or you know, hey, and they ask you, can I get some time? And you're wondering, what do you really want? You know, that can be, for me, just being transparent. You know, that's like, people are asking me for time, but they really asking me for more than time.
Right.
But the people that ask me for time, and that's kind of all they're asking, and maybe they're asking some questions, but they're not asking me to satisfy some kind of unrealistic desire, demand that they have, or trying to solve some problem that maybe a counselor would be better suited to serve, or maybe the Lord, you know. But I can be, I still will give the time, because people matter, and they matter to God, they matter to me. I've asked, you know, my leaders for time over the years, and they've been gracious to pour into me. So I think as leaders, we just have to be aware that there will be times when it's inconvenient, but it's very worth it, because it's, you know, the people of the organization are more important than the progress of the organization, you know, and you know, you can't let someone sabotage the progress.
Sure.
But I don't think anybody is trying to do that, you know. But I think even down and I look at our organization, when I look at the captain level and the coach level, like, if we're not intentionally adding value to people, then we're missing it.
Yep.
And you don't add value simply when there's, you know, an alarm going off. No, it's constant, it's consistent, whether it's through text messages, phone calls, hey, let's grab lunch. Just spending some time means the world to people. Just giving people time. People tell me, they say this, and it, hopefully, if anyone hears this on the podcast, they'll refrain from saying this to me.
Okay.
And I've maybe said this before on the podcast, Pastor, I know you're so busy.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, that makes me feel bad, because you are painting me with this brush that says I'm not important enough for you, Pastor. So I feel like I'm working out of a deficit with you to, oh no, you're worth it. The truth is, you are worth it, and nobody forces me to give time.
Sure.
You know, I mean, if someone needs time with me, a member of my team, I will do everything I can to accommodate that. It may not be immediately, maybe it will be, depending on what the need is, but it may be, hey, I'm never too busy for you. That's the mindset that I live with.
Yeah.
You know, I've had people say, oh, Pastor, you know, they come to me in the lobby on Sundays and they want to talk. Well, I'm out there to talk to people. Well, I know you're so busy. I'm like, what are you apologizing for? No, and I think some of that's just rooted in people's psyche of, I'm not, you know, they see themselves as insignificant. They see me on the stage and make me out to be more than what I am. But I enjoy adding value to people and spending time with people. because, even scripture says the generous person, when you refresh others, you're refreshed. So as leaders, when we pour into our teams intentionally, and I'm asking every captain out there, every coach, please take time to refresh your team, to pour into them, because it keeps this church from feeling like this big mass event center, and it makes it feel like a family, because that's what we are. We're a family.
That's right.
And our leadership base and our dream team, that's a family within the family.
Yeah.
And I need our captains, we need our coaches to be investing time, and not unhealthy amounts of time. I'm not asking you to give more time than you should.
Right.
But you signed up to be a leader.
It's true. It's real.
You signed up to be a leader. And I think sometimes, well, what do I have to do that for? Because you're a leader.
And as we rise in leadership.
Well, I don't want to give that time, but then you shouldn't be a leader.
Yeah.
You just should. You're missing, like, it's part of the job description. Yeah. We add value. We spend time with our teams.
That's
and
right.
We have to be generous. And, generosity could be, hey, man, I'm going to call you on my way home from work today.
Totally. It's an investment you're making in someone else.
It's not like something that has to be, a 3-hour meeting.
Yeah.
I would think that would be unhealthy.
That would not be generous.
No, I actually think you need to learn how to create some boundaries if you're doing that.
Yeah.
But I think we have to pick moments, and it could be, I'm being generous with my time by preparing for the huddle. I'm going to spend 15 to 20 minutes preparing for this huddle that's going to last for 5. Because I want to have something to say. I want to be led by the Spirit of God. Yeah. It's just little, even things like that. You're giving some time, and you're making an investment in people with your time.
That's right.
Make it matter. Make it count.
So good. Time is the one thing we can't replenish.
No.
To me, time is the greatest indicator of how valuable you are to somebody.
No, true.
Because if they'll give you that, they're showing you, and so it's all about intentionality.
Yeah, I used to say it. Now it's not original with me. How do you spell love? Time.
Yeah, it's so true.
That's how you spell love.
So true.
It's time.
That's right.
It's right.
Time. You mentioned something that sparked a thought. You said, "I want to add value to others." We talked about one way that we can be generous is by investing our time.
Yeah.
Another way that we can be generous as leaders is by investing our talent.
Yeah. No, for sure. I feel like even my role here in the organization has changed over the years. We are 10 years old, and I think we had, by the shooting this podcast, we had, over 6,500 people in church. So, I'm not the pastor of the church plan in the high school anymore.
No.
I'm the pastor of this, okay?
Yes.
And what I've attempted to do over the years is never to lock in on no, that's what I do. But really, I try to hone in on who God has made me to be, and what are the strengths that He's given me. Some things I'm good at, some things I'm not so good at. Well, I don't need to be, trying to leverage what I'm not good at for the organization.
That's got probably a low ceiling.
Yeah, why would I do that?
Right.
Because it's just gonna stifle what God wants to do. But I've always tried to invest, my talents back into the organization. Okay, what do I do? How do I think strategically? What am I learning that's helping the organization that I can share with others? Because I want to keep learning. I want to keep growing. And I think every leader is uniquely gifted.
Yes.
And that every leader needs to know what that is. So if you're high on encouragement, or you have that ability, be investing that in your team. If you're strategic, invest that into your team. If and it doesn't, God can use anybody, any leader, if I wasn't the most strategic leader, the church would probably still be doing well. I would just make sure I have a very strategic person that's helping me map this thing out. So I think when you think of talent, it's not so much, I can build things, or I know how to cook well. That's part of it, but we're probably talking more of your spiritual gifts, or even your strengths from Strengths Finders, if they've done that. What are those strengths, and then investing that into your team, because I can add value to my team in a lot of ways. I know in the ways that I'm gifted, you know, there's a lot of ways that I can't, and I try not to even like
get too far into that lane.
Yeah. I mean, and I say this, and I don't mean, I hope no one sees me in a bad light because of it, or I'm not the most naturally relational person. Like naturally, I'm more strategic. I do bring a lot of influence.
Yes.
Execution.
Yep.
I love people. I'm just not like, I'm more of an introvert, and I've shared that before. But I still connect with people in my own way. But I find, okay, what can I do? What has God put in me? What strength has he given me that I can use to add strength to others?
So good, man.
So I think as leaders, you just got to be comfortable in your own skin and just realize, okay, this is what I'm good at.
Right.
And this is what I want to add. And I'm going to help. I'm going to leverage these gifts for the betterment of the team.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's why some of those things, that's why that self-awareness journey becomes so important for you as a leader, because some people are hearing that and they're like, well, I don't even know if I know. Like as a practical example, because you referenced strength finders, you've got the gift of maximization in your strength finders. And the way that plays out is I've seen you use that gift of maximizing, which is how do I take the team that I have and put them in the most, I guess, the best position for their gift set. Well, you use that. I mean, there's been times where we've totally like everybody's job description changed.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I think we did it last year. Like, hey, we're having a meeting and everyone's getting a new job description.
That's
surprise.
That's one practical example, though. Yeah. And then when we did that, we saw the fruit of that.
No, we hit a growth spurt as a church that we've never experienced before.
Great. Yeah.
And we didn't have high turnover, you know. I mean, every organization is going to have some turnover, and it's not always bad. You know, sometimes God calls people to you. Sometimes he calls them through you.
Yep.
And that's going to happen on our teams.
Totally.
So captains need to know, you know, sometimes someone joins a team, they're with you forever, you know. Sometimes they join your team and for whatever reason, they don't stick.
Sure.
I think we want to know what the reason is. If I'm the leader, I don't want to be like aloof to that, because if I can get better at something to keep people, but you know, there's all kinds of ways to discern what your strengths are. I think those different assessments are good. And Brian, I think that if you're secure in those,
yes.
I mean, I think insecurity. Maybe I'll do create some content around this thought at some point. But insecure leaders, man, they can really do some damage.
It's true.
In the people that are surrounding them. Insecurity is really a tricky thing as a leader. And you know, I'm not going to tell you I don't battle my own insecurities at times. I just never let the voice of insecurity get loud and get me acting in ways that cause me to maybe be inauthentic or try to be something I'm not, or, you know, I'm going to try to please everybody. I mean, I think once you know what you're good at and you begin to perfect and hone those gifts, then you can really make a difference. You can really help some people that way. Yeah,
I'm grateful for your authenticity there, because you've helped me. I think every leader battles insecurity to some degree. And I think when you leverage certain things, when you add certain things, like even the thought of, for leaders, we have to communicate. Some of us will advance to communicating on a stage. That can bring a ton of insecurity. And you said, you know, if you're an insecure leader, that's going to play out major in your team. You're going to do a lot of damage. But if you're an insecure leader, I think you're also going to sabotage what your own maybe potential is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And you've helped me kind of work that out and learn how to be comfortable in your own skin. I don't know what it is about human beings. It's like we want the gift set that somebody else has. You know, it's kind of like we desire that and we want to make a trade. But again, going back to the way that God designed you and living out, knowing that, and then operating in that is the best way to take your team to the next level.
Yeah. And you know, if we haven't done this already, I think at some point we ought to put everybody through Strength Finders.
We do in 2.0.
Good. And if there's any leaders out there that haven't done that, you know, just even at the captain level, I don't think it costs that much.
I want to say it's like $10 or $15.
It's Gallup, GALLUP, Strength Finders. It'll help you on your job. It'll help you in a lot of different, like your relationships. But really, like, okay, this is what I'm pretty good at. And then if you take that and compare that to your spiritual gift assessment from Next Steps that we do here, like I just hope our leaders kind of keep that before them.
Yeah.
And not, I did that, but I don't even know what my spiritual gift is. So if you're a leader and you're watching this right now, you're listening, and you don't know what your like spiritual gifts are, you forgot, you need to like contact us. Like what? Because we keep record of some of those things,
everything
in our database, because we want to be able to. Okay, if we need people that have the gift of mercy or the gift of craftsmanship, we can run a report. Okay, we've got a list of people that are gifted to do this. But I think you need to know what your gifts are, because that's what you use to add value to people.
So good.
I mean, God's not going to ask me to add value to people in an area that I'm not gifted to add value. I mean, so like. This is all Ephesians 4, the body. We all have a role to play. We're all connected somehow, and the heart needs to be the heart. The heart doesn't need to act like the foot. You know what I mean? It's like that there's a role that every part has, and it does, and they're all valuable. They're all important. We know that talk, but I think as leaders, we need to know what ours is, because that's how we help other people tap into theirs.
So good. So good.
That's how we help other people. That's how we place people in ministry in a way that, and we've always talked about this, we value gifts-based ministry. We don't ask people, well, we need help over here in this area. And there's there's a strategy to that. So we're going to find people that are gifted to do that and let their gifts lead them there.
So good.
And let them find fulfillment in using their gifts, not just fulfillment in meeting a need.
Yes.
Because that's short term.
Short term. And then when the pace of life gets up, that's usually the first thing that you
get. Because I'm not enjoying it. There's no fulfillment there.
That's right.
But really our job, and leaders, you need to hear this. If you want your team to continue to grow and be healthy, it's your job and your role, your responsibility to be generous with your time and your talent in order to, like, that brings everybody to a place of fulfillment.
So
because you're helping the people around you find fulfillment.
Yes.
And as the church grows, gang, we need that.
We do. We need that.
I mean, I'll be real honest. I want to see dream team engagement go up another notch, and I don't need captains on an org chart just filling a spot on an org chart.
No.
We need captains that are active, that are leading, that understand the responsibility of leadership and the spirit of generosity that is so vitally important to fulfilling that role.
Right. And that makes me think of another one that we've discussed. You're generous with your time, your talent, but you're also generous with your connection. And that's creating community on the team.
Yeah.
Relationship. I recently heard a quote that I really liked. It said this, that the strength of ministry is found in community. The strength of that team.
Yes,
it's like the lifeblood.
Yeah.
And so even if you're like, maybe you're not as wired to be the natural party person, I love what you said about as leaders, we're responsible to foster those environments. So one of the greatest ads that we can make for anybody is creating a community where people can come into.
Yeah. And I think church, capital C church in general, I don't think it feels like that for some people. And in some churches.
Yeah.
I've always wanted it to be a focus for us and a priority for us. And I'm not going to tell you we're perfect at it. Matter of fact, I'm always looking at how we can make this sense of community stronger.
Yeah.
And how we can keep opening up space and creating space for more people to find community. But people aren't going to church anymore in America because we believe in the truth. I mean, I wish that was a little bit more the case, but a lot of people, they don't even know what's true. And they may love the Lord, but man, they may have some really goofed up ideas. Okay, well, we're going to help them theologically and hopefully share principles in our different ministry environments are going to help strengthen that and correct that if there's any error there. I think people want to go to church because they need community.
I couldn't agree more.
I mean, used to people found community in their community.
Yeah.
You knew your neighbors. You had an identity as a people in a community or a neighborhood. That's all changed, and that isn't recent.
No.
It's been around for a while. I think God made us all to kind of find our flock or find our herd, if you will. There's something in us, and people will find that with their kids' activities. They'll find community around the sports team. Not saying that's wrong.
Sure.
It's just short-lived.
It is.
It's short-lived.
Yes.
It's for a season. Where do you find community that could last through, stand the test of time? And I think that's what the church is for.
Yeah.
So learning how to create that family feel is pretty important, and it's the leader's responsibility to do it.
Yeah.
I've said it around here for a long time. Who you are is more important than what you do.
Yeah.
And helping create environments where people and captains, you might want to think about this. We got to create environments that help people feel like they can get to know each other outside of the task that we're trying to pull off.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, that's one more thing. Well, I mean, is it? Or is it one more really important thing that could really add tons of momentum? Because some teams do this better than others.
Totally.
Because some captains take it seriously.
Yeah.
And it could be something as simple as, hey, once a quarter, I'm asking Sally over here on my team, because she's a party looking for a place to happen. Sally, you create the party. Tell us what we all need to bring, and we'll do that. Because then the team that plays together stays together.
It's totally true.
And I think we have to make room for that, gang.
Yeah.
I think we have to make room for that. That's not naturally my strength. I mean, I'm not the guy that's looking to plan a party, but I'm down for the party. I'll help pay for the party. I'll do whatever.
But let's roll the clocks back even with that, because I remember years ago, like before you were the senior pastor, like even though you weren't wired for that 15 years ago, you were still creating it.
Yeah.
You were still making it happen.
Yeah.
You were still ensuring that those things were there because you saw the importance of it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I was youth and young adult pastor, I'm like, we're going to Wingstop tonight.
Yes, I remember, dude.
I mean, we'd get there at 10 o'clock and leave at midnight. It didn't take 2 hours to eat wings.
No, it was great.
We're just goofing around. We're talking. And some of those relationships, obviously, with us, with others that I have in that circle, they're still there.
And that's some of the richness and fulfillment that you get as a leader, that if you never create the space for that, you never experience that. You never, as a leader, get the opportunity to even relationships where you can say, man, I've been running with this person for the last several years. If it's just about task, that's not happening.
No, not at all. Not at all. And leaders that don't make time for it don't even, like you said, they don't even know what they're missing out on.
Don't even know what they're missing. So we talked about time.
Yeah.
Talked about talent.
Yeah.
Talked about connection. Okay. The last one, opportunities.
Okay.
Opportunities. And I want to frame this up a little bit. I think we can be generous with the opportunities we give others. And this thought comes from, as you're leading people, if you're a captain and you've got a dream team, you're looking for opportunities to see that person take their next step.
Yeah.
On their team.
Yeah.
So you've been generous over the years. I'll speak from personal experience. You've been generous over the years in giving me opportunities.
Yeah.
But opportunities that exist right beyond my comfort zone.
Oh, yeah.
And you've done that because that's helped me raise my own lid.
Right.
When you're processing that, because anytime you're going to give somebody an opportunity to step into something new, bigger, heavier, there's a risk there.
Sure, no doubt.
How do you work that out?
Well, it's always a calculated risk.
Yeah.
Are they ready? No. But
no.
Will this opportunity serve them well in being more ready, more equipped? Yes. And if they don't handle it at the level that maybe the opportunity calls for, it's not going to be detrimental to them or to me or to the team. Maybe I'm doing it with them. Maybe I'm a close, advisor that's, helping them, giving them feedback before and afterwards. It could be as simple as captain level, just to put the cookies on the bottom shelf. Hey, I think John's a potential captain. Hey, John, I want you to lead the huddle this week.
Excellent example.
and I'm going to give you some feedback after the fact, but I want people to see you as a strong member of this team. And then, hey, in a couple of weeks, I've actually got a Sunday where I'm scheduled to be out of town, and I want you to run the huddle in my absence, but I want to do it with you for a couple of weeks or before, and you think, well, that doesn't seem like a big deal. It's a big deal if John's never done that.
It's totally a big deal.
And it's a big honor for John to be asked, maybe scary, but just the ask is saying, I see some value in you. I see potential in you. And, I've never, I've always tried to think about, okay, where's this person at? Where's their potential at? I mean, I'm not asking everybody to lead a huddle.
No, because you know your team.
You know your team. You know who's ready for what.
Yeah.
And never to sound condescending as a leader, but I oftentimes will look at people that I lead as my own children. And I think, if I were to ask my sons to do something, I wasn't asking them to mow the front yard at 7 years old.
Right. Yeah, totally.
But they're picking up the doggy doo with the little scooper.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, you're kind of staging this out.
Yeah, we're preparing them to mow the yard. We're preparing them to drive a truck. We're preparing them to go to college, to have a family of their own, to handle their finances a certain way. So I'm always thinking about people in terms of development.
Yes.
Where they're at, understanding maybe their needs. But if you don't know your team and you're not spending time, it's almost impossible to develop anybody. But you got to give the opportunity that fits them in the moment. Now, sometimes you'll get somebody that thinks they're more ready than they are. And that's a time, and you can be generous with your time and give them some feedback. Like, hey, man, I love your passion. We got a young man in our church, and he's in high school, and he was telling me he's going to be in ministry and he's going to do all this stuff. I'm like, man, that's awesome. And then I'm like, what team are you on? Yeah, are you being a good teammate? Are you someone that they can depend on?
Yeah.
Are you there early and stay late? I'm giving him some of the sounds of the house and values, and he's yes sir. And I don't know if he is or not, but he's going to be one that I'd love the passion. But we just have to, sometimes you can find someone like that they make it real known that they want to go to the next level. But then there's people on your team that have the desire, but maybe don't have the confidence.
Yeah.
And you got to almost kind of pull that out of some people.
It's good.
And go mining for it.
Yeah.
So I've seen that happen. That's always very rewarding as a leader when you turn around and, man, look at this person. Now they were a dream teamer. Now they're a coach or they're a staff member now. Like how proud, makes you feel proud, makes you feel, hey, I was a part of that. I was a small part of that, God put that in there, but somehow we helped it come out.
Cultivated a little bit.
We helped it come out. So, when I think of where I want to see our church be in the next 10 years, I don't have a numerical value that I've placed to that, because I don't really get motivated by that. But the sense of community and development and a spirit of generosity and kindness in our church. We need to be generous, of course, with our time and our talent. We need to be generous with our compliments. We need to be generous with our appreciation.
Yes.
We need to be generous with our kindness and our prayers and we just need to be generous. We need to be giving.
Yeah.
Givers. Leaders are givers, not takers.
That's right.
We are givers, not takers.
It's our values, man.
We are contributors, not consumers.
Yeah.
That's what leaders do. And they set the spirit, the tone, the atmosphere, the culture of the house. And, I think if we were to grade ourselves on it, I think we got a passing grade.
Yeah. No, we have.
We can always get better. I'm not saying we're A+++, but I think we're doing well. But I think where I see the church going now is that the coaches and the captains are very important to
vital.
Like I don't want to use the word success.
Advancement.
But advancement, success isn't a bad word.
It's not.
Some people say, well, you can have 10 people in your church and be successful. Yeah, if there's 10 people in the community.
Yeah, context, right?
Yeah, but I think successful churches are advancing churches.
100%.
In Joshua 1, God talks about, I'll make your way prosperous and you'll experience good success. So success is obviously, like, the standard of that is set by God, not man. So, but I think if we're going to continue to advance, we as leaders, we have to stay, like, live with a generous heart, have a spirit of generosity. This isn't just about money. See, like, the generosity message, people think, well, it's just about money. Well, it is.
There's a part of it that
includes that, but it's about a whole lot of other things too.
Yeah.
And I think just that God is a giver. We want to be like our Father God. We want to lead like, that in a way that represents Christ well. So we're going to be generous. Yeah. We're going to be generous people.
Yeah. I want to thank you for your generosity. The generosity in leading our church. Yeah. Generosity in that thought of development. I'm just one of many that have been a part of seeing God advance my own life simply because I've had leaders in my life that were willing to be generous. So thank you for your generosity.
Oh, man.
Because it's reflected in the entire church.
Yeah, you're very welcome, man. It's my privilege. I was going to say my pleasure.
Privilege is probably better.
Yeah.
Well, great episode. Yeah. Always a joy. It goes by super quick. And I just want to take a moment and thank all of those that are listening or watching. It's always a joy for us to jump on here. And it's our hope and prayer that we've added value to you in some way. If we have, leave us a review and let us know. Of course, we're looking forward to next month where we're going to bring you fresh leadership content. Until then, we'll see you on the next episode of the Faith Family Leadership Podcast.